Stop calling everything cinematic. Just pure slow motion is not cinematic. Super shallow depth of field is not cinematic. Throwing on a fancy schmancy lot is not cinematic. Let me explain. Cinematic has become more of a marketing buzzword rather than an actual filmmaking standard. Nowadays it's thrown around super easily like this, especially on social media, and it's used to describe this perfect cinematic lot that's gonna make your film look amazing. These black bars on top and the bottom are gonna make your shot look super cinematic. This specific niche piece of gear is gonna make your film look super cinematic, but it's not actually that simple. I would break what cinematic actually means into 4 different pillars, not just one specific thing that you can do or not do, and number 1 is intentional framing. Every shot should be telling a story on its own. It should never be just a locked off camera and serve as a window for us to look at dialogue through. It should be able to show and perceive emotion from the characters, from the story, tension, to portray that emotion to the viewer. And by using intentional framing, you could portray story a lot better than if you just lock the camera off statically somewhere. You can use negative space, you can choose different perspectives, you can use symmetry or asymmetry, you can use rule of thirds, and there are many rules that you can follow or break to specifically make your shot more intentional and portray a specific story and not be just a window for us to look at dialogue through. Number 2 is lighting contrast. Don't just evenly lit a room so the actors' faces just look perfect, and don't just focus on what your histogram is saying when you look at it on the camera. Sometimes crushed blacks in the frames are not bad if they are serving to tell a specific story or portray a specific mood. Use color contrasts. Maybe there is some warmer and cooler Kelvin temperatures of lights in the shots. Give us depth, give us range, give us emotion. Maybe there is a character who is going through psychosis, so everything looks super bright, and you can even use RGB lights to portray specific stories. Use shadows and contrasts to your advantage. Don't just make look everything flat and super pretty, because that's not cinematic. Number 3 would be emotional weight, and what I mean by that is the shot is cinematic as long as it is carrying some emotional weight. You can shoot something at a super shallow depth of field, make it look like super slow motion-y, give it the black bars and throw a specific LUT, but if it doesn't portray an emotion, if it doesn't provoke a reaction from you as a viewer, it's not really a cinematic shot. Now, I'm not saying that just because you see a frame on the film you should burst into tears, but I'm also not saying that you should just, again, be looking at shots and just kind of a window to see what's happening. The shots should be telling a story themselves, and they should hold emotional weight. Especially if there is a really emotional scene in a drama or a horror where a character is maybe scared or crying, the shot should portray that emotion as well and portray it to the viewer also. Number 4 is movement with purpose. There are a lot of instances where people just get a gimbal and they're moving the camera, it looks super smooth, and they think it's gonna make the shot look super cinematic. And sure, it might look appealing and pleasing to the eye, but if the camera is moving without any motivation, why should the camera be moving? Then why bother even moving the camera, just for the sake of moving the camera? Shallow depth of field, slow motion, and super controlled movements of the camera are not necessarily cinematic on its own, unless they are used to portray a story or to show emotion in a very specific way. So just by moving a camera unintentionally, it's not gonna make your film look 10 times better. And if you want to really challenge yourself, make a film with just a steady, locked off camera, and you're gonna see how creative you can get into actually portraying super creative, unusual angles and emotions through just a locked off camera, and you will actually see how rarely the camera actually needs to move. So what's with this word cinematic? Why did it get so diluted over time, and why did it almost completely lose its meaning? Well, there are multiple factors. One of them is marketing and fast consumption, just because it's a lot easier to sell a product if you write cinematic in front of it than if you don't. Because if you're selling a super cinematic mini light, and if you're just selling a mini light, the one that says super cinematic is gonna sell a lot more units. And they can basically be the same light, and sure, with the same light you can make shots that are super cinematic and that are not, but it's not just about the light. It's a compilation of multiple things and about those 4 different pillars that I mentioned. And one of the other reasons is social media, because people on social media are oversimplifying things, which I'm not saying is necessarily bad, because when you're just starting to get into the industry, you want things to be fairly simple so you can learn in bits and steps. But by oversimplifying the word cinematic and by making content that is this one light can make your shots look super cinematic, or this one trick made my films 10 times more cinematic, is kind of where the trap goes, because nobody really explains that cinematic is not just one thing, it's a compilation of multiple things. So that's where the problem kind of originated from, and it just evolved into deeper and deeper problem. And now when somebody says cinematic, it doesn't really hold meaning that it used to. So cinematic is not just one word or one phrase, or I don't know, one piece of kit, one lens, or one simple tap to put everything into super slow motion. It's actually a combination of multiple different things that actually make films more cinematic. And I can do a whole series and a whole deep dive into what makes films, shots, and how you can make your films and shots look more cinematic. Even though I necessarily don't like that word myself, because it is nowadays really shallow and really, not what it used to be, because especially on big sets, making something or film or a shot look cinematic is a combination of work of like dozens and hundreds of people, from set design to music to sound design to cameras to lens choices. Sure, that does play and does have a play into making your shot look more cinematic, but it's not the only thing. It's actually a collaboration between multiple people and a collaboration of multiple different art forms into making something more cinematic. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and follow me on my Instagram at full.frame.production, because I post a lot of behind the scenes and snippets there. Hopefully I will see you in the next one.